You ever come home from the most peaceful trip of your life? Maybe you're still half dreaming of slow Montana mornings, coffee steam rising over a field of cattle, and within 10 seconds you realize reality's about to slap you upside the head. Yeah, that was me, the day I got back from my brother's ranch. 12 years. I'd owned this patch of land, my lake, my peace, all of it left to me by my granddad, and as I pulled up I heard something that didn't belong. A weird low humming like a beehive made of robots coming from the lake. Now let me paint this for you. I've known every ripple, every frog, croak, and owl call out there. This was new. This was wrong. I went straight to the kitchen window expecting maybe some kids had set up a toy or a neighbor left a pump running. Nope. What I saw froze me cold, this monster of a metal platform dead center on my lake covered in shining solar panels. It was huge professional-grade stuff with navigation lights, 4 giant battery containers, and thick cables snaking underwater toward the HOA clubhouse. I'm talking 8,000 pounds of hardware, at least $78,000 worth floating right where loons used to land. Not just on my lake, but anchored into it. Every cable, every bolt, all inside my property lines. The deed is as clear as a Montana sunrise. I own the lake, the water, the bed underneath, period. And not a word, not an email, not a single note taped to my door while I was gone. I could feel the anger burning up in my throat. Trespassing, plain and simple. So what do? You call the cops, right? Officer Johnson, a decent guy, came by, walked the shore with me, taking photos, scratching his head at this high-tech trespassing. But when it came time to talk justice, he just shrugged, said it looked like a civil matter, not criminal. I'd have to start with the HOA, try to work it out. Can you believe that? My property, my problem to fix. Well, that's when you realize the system's not built for folks like you. It's built to keep the peace, even when peace is the last thing that's happening. But I've got 30 years in water management, so I did what engineers do, documented everything. Photos, GPS coordinates, serial numbers, walked every inch, logged every anchor, every bit of cable. And then I remembered the ace up my sleeve, Granddad's old control valve. Hidden at the lake's edge, it could drain the whole thing down to less than a meter deep in an emergency. I'd never used it for anything but fish management, but suddenly I saw what it really was, leverage. I called the HOA, left a professional-sounding message, then hammered out a formal email to the president, Patricia Wyndham. Didn't rant or threaten, just laid it all out. Who authorized this? Where are the permits? Show me the environmental assessment, the consent, the paperwork. Otherwise, this is trespassing and it needs to be removed now. I attached everything, photos, deeds, coordinates, proof. And what does Patricia send back hours later? A 4-paragraph essay about the community's commitment to sustainability and how the platform is a cutting-edge project for everyone's benefit. Not a single answer to my questions. Not one word about permission or permits. Just a polished PR pitch about environmental leadership and shared resources. Let me tell you, there's nothing that'll get your blood boiling faster than being gaslit in writing. She called my lake adjacent to community common areas as if it wasn't mine at all. She signed off with every possible credential, environmental consultant, HOA president, the whole deal. I replied with one line, who authorized construction on my private lake? Where are the permits? And then nothing, for days. Meanwhile, her big shiny platform kept humming, making electricity, making money, and making my property her business. Neighbors started to look at me sideways. I could feel the ground shifting under my feet, and not just at the lake bottom. So I doubled down. More photos, more documentation. One last formal notice, show me the paperwork or I file with the county. This time Patricia's answer dropped the nice act. Suddenly I was the problem, adversarial, threatening to harm the community. She spun it as if my property rights were standing in the way of progress. She even hinted that the whole neighborhood would blame me if I didn't get on board. That's when you know you're not dealing with misunderstanding or bureaucratic bumbling. You're up against someone who thinks the law is just another obstacle to maneuver around. But if she thought a little neighborly shaming would work on me, she had another thing coming. She called a meeting. Oh, she called a meeting. Packed clubhouse slides and charts, environmental stewardship, this cost savings that. 10 out of 12 households cheered her on, and right then and there I became the villain. Folks who'd waved at me for years suddenly wouldn't meet my eyes. Flyers showed up on my windshield, support clean energy. My morning jogs felt like perp walks. But I didn't give up. I started doing my own digging, county records, environmental codes, everything. Guess what? 0 permits. No environmental studies, no review for battery systems. County officials practically salivated at my file of violations. They even handed me the forms and told me exactly how to report it. An environmental attorney reviewed my stack and said, "You have grounds for immediate action." Government agencies, she told me, don't care about HOA politics or neighborly guilt. They care about the law. So I filed. 8 pages of evidence, photos, coordinates, deeds, violations. And government moves slow until you talk about water contamination. Then it moves fast. Within days, they were out there with clipboards, water testing kits, official trucks. Inspector Foster, no nonsense, sharp as a tack, walked every inch with me. She found what I knew she'd find: unpermitted construction damage to the lakebed batteries, leaking panels wired up in ways that would make any real engineer cry. She told me straight, "We're shutting this down, but we need you to lower the lake so we can get a full look." Of course I agreed. This was finally how things should work by the book, with people who don't care about neighborhood rumors or HOA titles. When Patricia heard the news, her eco-warrior mask cracked. She called, frantic, begging, threatening, bargaining all at once. But she couldn't bluff the county. She couldn't gaslight the inspector. Her community support started to splinter. Some neighbors started asking real questions. Wait, did we check permits? Are we on the hook for this? And when the cease operations order landed, certified mail government letterhead, Patricia tried everything. Hired a lawyer who took one look and told her to give up, staged rallies, bombarded social media, spun herself as an environmental hero under attack by bureaucrats. She even got the local paper involved, only for them to uncover all the violations and publish her failures for the whole county to see. That's when things really fell apart. She defied the shutdown order, ordered the platform back on, and finally, when all else failed, she parked herself in a little boat right by the platform, live streaming her defense of clean energy as the county showed up to drain the lake. Now, I won't lie, watching it all go down was surreal. Water draining platform, tilting batteries, breaking loose panels, shattering sparks flying. The $78,000 community investment flipped, crashed, and turned into a toxic underwater wreck in about 90 minutes. The cleanup cost $32,000 on top of $45,000 in county fines, plus legal bills, plus the write-off of the whole system. HOA insurance didn't cover a dime. They'd built it illegally. Patricia was on the hook for $173,000. The HOA slapped every household with a $14,400 special assessment just to cover the disaster. Patricia lost her house, declared bankruptcy, and her so-called consulting career was over. Neighbors who'd called me the villain apologized, most of them anyway. Some never forgave me, or themselves, or Patricia. The retired teacher who'd asked the right questions took over the HOA, promising permits, first projects, second from now on. 18 months later, the lake was restored, clear water, wildlife back, no more mechanical humming. I'd kept my rights, my peace, and even got public thanks from the county for responsible cooperation. Sitting by the water that morning, reading about Patricia's community service sentence in the paper, I realized what I wish everyone had known from day one. Real environmentalism isn't about banners or buzzwords. It's about respecting the law, the land, and each other. There's a line between being an eco-warrior and being a trespasser. And Patricia didn't just cross it, she burned it. You want to know what justice looks like? Sometimes it sounds like water draining like glass, shattering like physics, and paperwork doing their quiet work. In the end, laws and facts win sooner or later. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Is there ever a time when the greater good justifies trampling on someone's rights? Or is that just wishful thinking? Ever see karma drop like a stone in your own life? Drop your stories or opinions below. I want to hear them. Let's talk about where you draw the line between progress and respect, between community and the individual. And hey, if you enjoyed watching Entitlement, literally smash that like, subscribe, and stick around for the next story. Stay legal and stay loud.